Morning, y'all. Hey, it's Melissa at Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. It is chick days here at our little family farm. We have several chick days throughout the year, and for us, chick days just means it's a hatch day and scheduled to be a move-in day. We have meat birds coming in. So, actually want to go into the barn and show you one of the most important parts of being ready for meat chickens, in our opinion. Thanks for joining me on Twin Oaks Farm Poultry. Hey, want to take this opportunity to tell you, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We are trying to grow the subscribers on our channel. Also, interact with the video. If you love it, give it a like, press the thumbs up, and put a comment. We'd love to read the feedback that y'all leave. We genuinely try to reply to everyone. If you ask a question, we answer what we can, research what we need to, but we try to get you some reply to your comment, and it helps in the community. We have other people that raise poultry, so they can also weigh in on anything you ask or anything that you include there for input. And last thing, there's a join button under the video. Click that, get some information on memberships. That's a paid membership. It supports our channel, supports the video content projects and our on-farm projects. So we're also trying to grow that as well as our channel is expanding a little bit. But want to show you the barn where we're going to move our meat chickens in. So it is September 4th, 2024. Don't know if I remember to say that at the beginning or not. And here we like to raise Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens for homegrown, top quality poultry. And on our channel, Twin Oaks Farm Poultry, we like to show you the practices that we use to do that, in hopes that you can scale those practices to your own meat bird flocks if you're raising them, or if you're not raising meat birds, in hopes that what we show you will encourage you to seek out local farmers wherever local is for you and source as much of your food as locally as you possibly can directly from the producer. Heart local ag, support local agriculture. So we hope that it will encourage you to eat real food, heart local ag, and support farmers where you live. So we're going to head into the barn. Now, I want to go in here with this thought. We all know the saying, possession is 9/10 of the law, right? Well, preparation is 9/10 of success. So with that in mind, let's take a step inside here. So I get it. You're looking at an empty barn and you're like, Melissa, why are you showing us an empty barn? Because, like I said, in our experience, we have found that this is one of the most important aspects of raising, especially Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens. When we're raising chickens, a lot of us start out with egg production chickens. And egg production chickens still need specialized care, still need very particular management and stewardship. But what we have learned about meat chickens is that they have even less tolerance for fluctuations in temperature. They have more specific needs as far as nutrition and as far as length of production. So the management with meat chickens is somewhat more intense than the management with egg production chickens. And one of the easiest things that we can do when we're getting ready to raise meat chickens is prepare our space with the paraphernalia that we're going to need to start production, and also, kind of complementary to that, have ourselves prepared for how quickly these birds are going to grow and be able to adjust the place where we're going to raise them and the paraphernalia that we're going to use to raise them, and be prepared to take them from start, grow to finish. But what you're seeing right here is something that we do as a routine habit when we are preparing for flocks. We actually set up their brooder space either the night before their move-in day or early morning of their move-in day, and we want it as close to how we're actually going to use it as possible. So in our case, with this group that we're talking about today, we're going to be moving in approximately 425 Cornish Rock Cross Meat Chickens. And so we have decided that what we like to be able to do is start them in the same floor space we're going to finish them in. So basically, we prefer to start them in the same barn that we're going to end them in, and they don't need as much room at start, so we make just more or less a temporary confinement in the beginning that can be easily expanded into their growing and finishing space. So the main consideration for us with moving meat chickens in, because our barn is not totally temperature controlled, and because the weather around us fluctuates, even fluctuates in a 24-hour period, and because we're kind of at the mercy of whatever the weather's doing, the main priority for us, second to safety from predators, that probably has to top everybody's list, because chicks are totally helpless. If there's a predator, they're going to get them. So, and a predator can wipe out a dozen plus birds at one time, and then they're going to invite their buddies, and they're going to come back the next night and get some more of them. So predators has to be a big deal to you. If you're going to raise chicks, you need things really buttoned up, sealed up tight as far as predator entry around them. But our main thing in the beginning, because we know the predator concern is taken care of, our main thing in the beginning is how can we help these birds with temperature. Okay, so we've talked before in other videos, and will again. We're going to follow this flock start to finish, and we talk about temperature a lot, because in raising meat birds, let me just say here, what we are going for is the threshold of success, and the threshold of success is to maximize growth potential while minimizing flock loss. And for us with meat birds, our experience has been probably the biggest impact on reaching that threshold of success is managing ambient conditions, particularly ambient temperature. So we talk about temperature a whole lot. In fact, we did a pair of videos for Labor Day. Yes, well, we put the videos up on Labor Day, so 2 days ago from when we're recording this. But I think we called them Labor Day 2024. And in the second one, Labor Day 2024, 3 P's of preparing for raising meat birds. That was, the title was very similar to that. You could go back and look that one up. In that part 2 of that pair of videos, as the video goes on, partway through it, I talk about the exact temperature thresholds at the exact ages that you want to target for with your meat birds. So that's the big thing, that when we're talking about raising meat birds, our minds are constantly on the temperature, okay? And so, like I said, we're dealing with outdoor temperature, okay? This is a beautiful day. It's a lovely day. Last week, we had temperatures in the hundreds. Well, sort of in the hundreds. It felt like 100, but we had temperatures in the high 90s. Sorry, I exaggerated, but it felt like it was in the hundreds. So we had really high temperatures. In fact, too high for the birds we were finishing at the time. Now, this morning, just heard on the radio, it's 48 degrees right now, and we have birds moving in today. Day 1 birds want to be 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So last week, I was dealing with finished birds that wanted temperature 65 degrees, and I had 100. So, it was 35 degrees too hot for them. This week, I have birds that want 95, and it's 50, okay? So again, I am 45 degrees, almost too cold, right? So, but the day's going to warm up, probably be in the 80s. So still, even at 80, baby chicks, particularly all baby chicks really, in the very beginning wanted about 95. But as you step your egg birds down through the temperature range and they mature, see, they feather in more efficiently, more effectively. The egg birds do. And so they also develop the ability to thermoregulate more steadily than our meat birds do. And our meat birds' lifespan is so short. We're talking about probably 6 weeks. With our birds, we're talking about a range of 5 to 6 weeks. These birds are start, grown, finished, gone to processor. So they're not going to feather in entirely, probably, before we even take them to processor. And that's because they grow so fast, their skin expands rapidly. They are feathering, but they aren't keeping up with how quickly the skin is growing and the skin is expanding. So they just are not going to develop that ability to thermoregulate in that time span that we have them in production for poultry, is what it comes down to. Okay, so here we are, never perfect, moving birds in. At best, it's going to be 80 degrees when we move them in, and that's still 15 degrees too cold for what they want. And chill stress in baby meat bird chicks can happen within a 5-degree variance even. So it is very serious that we provide some kind of targeted warmth to help these birds have the temperature they need. And then, like I said, we're just constantly watching temperature. So when we get about the birds about a week in, they want it about 90 degrees. We get them 2 weeks in, they want it about 85 degrees. We get them 3 weeks in, they want it about 80 degrees. So if they're about 3 weeks old and we're going to have nighttime temperatures of 50 and daytime temperatures of 80, what we're going to do is turn heat lamps on in the late afternoon as the temperature starts to drop. And then in the mid-morning, as the temperature starts to rise, we're going to unplug heat lamps and turn them off. So we're going to manage that targeted warmth for temperature throughout. And then if for some reason, like let's say as this summer goes on, and we turn, the page to fall, these birds will be hitting about 3-4 weeks. Let's say for some reason we get that late summer heat wave and we get 95 degrees when they want it 75 degrees. Then we'll plug all these in and we'll provide some targeted air movement for the purposes of cooling. And we'll also open up all of our big doors on the barn like you see here. So actually when these birds move in, which should be today, we've got 12 heat lamps already suspended, already down. I can see the ones on this end are a little higher. We're probably going to have to drop those another notch or two, another link or two. But this is set up really well. Actually, my oldest two sons, young adults, 19 and 21, they set this pen up last night. We talked about some alternative setups, but this is what we've been using this summer. They went ahead and stuck with this, and this is a really good setup. So I'll mention what I like about this setup for what we're moving in, and then we'll wrap this video up. But really good setup here. So the lights have been suspended like this for several flocks, so they're basically in place. We can just lift them up the chains and leave them unplugged when we don't want to use them, but we're definitely going to be using them. If we're going to be below 95 the first week, which we are, we're definitely going to use heat lamps. So this is set up and ready to go for these chicks to move in, and we can just adjust these lamps if we find we need a little different height. Like, in fact, this one maybe even is maybe too low. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. When they first move in, if it's cool, they're gonna want the warmth. So, but here's what's also good about this. So what do you notice about the floor space? 3 main components. The targeted warmth is there, which we're definitely going to need because they want 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Fluffy, dry, soft bedding is already down on the floor space for them, so that's really good. They're going to be able to burrow into that if they want to warm up. At first, our concern is not going to be them getting too hot, so I don't have to worry about that. But the dry bedding is a big deal. You want that there for them. And the water. The water is already there. The water is already down on the floor. What's not on the floor? What's not on the floor space is feed. We do that intentionally. I've heard different takes on it. Our routine is that when we move birds in, we have the water down on the floor for them. We still do the old-fashioned, manually, by hand, dip each bird's beak into a water tray. Make sure they have that imprint on them that this is where we get water from. Any dispenser that looks like this is going to hold water, and I can get fresh, clean water from it. We want that to imprint on the birds. So we are going to do that old-fashioned, take the time, one at a time by hand. Take each bird out of the box, dip its beak in water, count the bird, release it. And we'll accomplish imprinting the water system, and we'll accomplish getting a good, accurate starting head count population on our flock. So we put the feed, or we put the water down first, and then what we do is we will put the feed down, but we let the birds sit or have free run of their brooder space for about 2 hours after unboxing them before we put the feed down. The purpose of that is twofold. A, their digestive systems are just beginning to work, okay? So we want to get the water in them. We want that to like help kickstart the digestive system. We want to get them good and hydrated. We need really to be well hydrated for our digestive system to work efficiently, and their digestive system is just beginning. So we want water in them. We want to know that they're hydrated. They've been in shipping boxes shipped through the mail from the hatchery, so we want to rehydrate them first. And then we also want the stress from shipping to dissipate. We don't want food going in them while they're still feeling the effects of stress, because then on top of it, their body is trying to deal with the beginnings of digestion, and that's even more stress. Okay, so first we get water in, and if it looks like everybody's settled in and they're calm, we may only wait an hour and go ahead and put the feed down. We kind of evaluate it, but the key is we don't have it down on the floor first thing. Okay, we start with just targeted warmth, which you're going to need in most cases, and the bedding down and the water down, and adequate space. Okay, and so I did mention also in that Labor Day 2024 video 3 P's of preparing for raising meat birds, that I know oftentimes, if you bring a flock in, maybe you have a warm place in a heated garage. Maybe you have a warm place in a utility room in your home. Oftentimes we'll hear when someone's raising, flocks of meat birds or their egg production chickens for just, what they want at home, they'll start them maybe in a place like that, like in a corner of the garage or in a utility room in like a big tub. And I mentioned you can do that with these meat birds in particular, though. Please be prepared for how quickly they're going to grow. So like, for example, the space we're showing you here that we're going to start about 400 birds in is maybe 10 foot by 25 foot, okay? It's not going to take very long. Within a week, we're going to start to feel like, based on their growth and their activity level, that they're going to want a little more space, okay? So probably definitely by 3 weeks, we're going to let them have all of this space, but maybe even at 2.5 weeks. So I would just say, if you're going to start them like in an indoor place that's kind of part of your common living area or an area you use on a daily basis, be prepared for them to grow. Be prepared potentially to need to expand their space rather quickly. So even though you may be moving them into that brooder starter space, have in mind, if they outgrow this, where's the next place we're going? And that's part of that preparation. So preparation is 9/10 of success, in our opinion. So anyway, but we are going to have hatch day today. Going to get the birds moving in today. Wanted to show y'all our setup. So we're good to go. We're good to go for 400 plus birds. The hope today is just that their shipping goes really smoothly, and that they're not sitting in boxes for a long time, and that we can unpack them and get them on their floor space.